make them the bad boys of the silo.
The air pressure would build up and then keep that water level down. The security people stir up a mob, but why?
No way. I mean, there's just absolutely no way. 3 nanometers. I didn't know about those ratios. That is insane. There's
Insane.
just no way. It's beat to shit.
You want to stretch out that deceleration. You want to stretch out that slowing down. Today we're watching Silo, Season 2, Episode 5. Tell me what happened.
First thing that happens is Juliet and Solo talk about water and power in Silo 17. And then the Down Deep gang gets betrayed by a porter for some reason.
Pete Nichols has this epic speech against Bernard. Super good. Really good. I enjoyed it. Sims takes his new role in judicial, and Bernard really does not know how hard drives work.
And Lucas Kyle works fast, like real fast.
Fast. Sims's wife, she is caught lying. Or I guess maybe she doesn't. Does Sims know?
Oh, yeah.
She's definitely lying.
Yeah.
She's definitely lying to Sims.
Yep. And then Shirley and Knox make a leap of faith all the way down to the Down Deep.
They definitely should be dead. And Billings is now fully betraying Bernard up on top. And by the end of the episode, Juliet is dying.
Oh yeah, she like fell over.
That's right. She went to sleep.
Weird.
What'd you think about the episode overall?
I give the episode a 6 out of 10. So it's actually this is a high rating for me for Silo.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I enjoyed it more than the others. One good thing for me is that Juliet is wondering about water and power. Maybe not food yet. I'm not sure why food is not a problem, but she is wondering about water and power, which I'm interested in. How are Solo and just Juliet not hungry and thirsty kind of all the time? I don't get it. So I want to know more about that, but at least I'm starting to learn some stuff. To me, Shirley and Knox made some questionable decisions, especially the leap of faith with the death rope. Like, what are we doing? Although I was on the edge of my seat. Bernard and Sims, they still got a very interesting relationship. Like, are they team members? Are they working together? Are they working against each other? Is it frenemies? It's interesting. I still don't understand why Mechanical isn't making political moves. I guess Knox just ain't it. It's just the way it goes. And Juliet ruining her suit is just really coming to bite her in the ass. It's just frustrating. So overall, frustrating things, but I was engaged. So for me, 6 out of 10. So what did you think?
I give this episode a 7 out of 10. Also a high score. So yeah. So halfway through the season now, and stuff is going down. So previously it's all build up, and now we're at a point where stuff's actually happening. And the acting in this episode was fantastic, rich, powerful, and it really, the director really pulled it out of the actors. And then the cinematography was dramatic and action-packed. I'm also looking forward to the end of the season. The last episode is going to be the same director. I think it's going to be very good. Pete Nichols brought the heat. That fakey IUD speech that he gives to Bernard when he's it was just scathing, saying I don't want to be a part of your system anymore. Fantastic. And Bernard's face just fuming, just absolutely fantastic. Sims is out of place. He's been promoted now to judicial, and he doesn't know what to do with himself because he's been this secretive bad boy CIA going to threaten people. That's what he's been for so long, and now that he's not in the position, he doesn't know what to do. And when Billings defied Bernard, I got some chills because Billings has been dedicated to the pact his whole life, and then now he's pulling back the layers. He's seeing the rot underneath the system, and he knows that the right way forward is actually to dismantle the system. Fantastic move for Billings. And when Solo flipped out at Juliet, I felt it. First of all, his fury, his switch, because that's what people actually do when they're habitual liars. When they get caught in their lies, they don't know how to get out of them, and they flip out, explode. And Juliet, with her face to the side, I don't know what to do next to this scary person, correct, because she's alone in Silo 17 with him, and he knows it's his home turf. She's super vulnerable. She can't go outside yet. She's stuck. She has to work with him, and he's flipping out. Fantastic acting. I felt it fast. Super good. The con of this episode is that Knox and Shirley really should have died at the end. There are ropes that are made for the people not to die in these situations. They did not have that. They really should have died. So overall, 7 out of 10. Good episode. Still excited for the rest of the season.
God, it could have been a gruesome death too. Ugh.
Like ripped in half, like organs just falling over the down deep. The down deep's
Oh.
like, why is it raining? Like,
Oh. Oh.
that's Shirley. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
All right, let's get into it.
So, in the silo, we're talking to Sims. Sims's wife and Bernard are having a conversation. I didn't realize that the silo had such strict gender roles. Like, wow.
You used to work with Rob.
I used to work for him, as he likes to remind me.
Does he discuss work with you?
Robert finds I'm not much interested in that work anymore. I have my job in IT, and I have my son. The pact says mothers are a vessel to deliver our children into the world, just as the silo is a vessel for the people. In our family, we take that to heart.
So I guess it's interesting to me. This ideology of like women are a vessel for the next generation or whatever. I don't know. That makes it sound like they have problems with population, but it seems like they don't have problems with population. Like more people want to have babies than slots available. So interesting that this is in the pact to me.
That's right. I see what you're saying. So I can imagine why it would be written in the pact. So if you have a society where it's very few numbers, where I don't know, say if you had 20 people, 20 people in your society, like you would take fertility super seriously. You would take motherhood super seriously because the survival of the society is really right on the balance. But when you have, I don't know, 100,000, a million, 10 million, it's not so important. It doesn't need to be revered. Motherhood doesn't need to be revered so much, because if any one individual doesn't want to be a mother, not a problem. There's going to be somebody else. So I wonder what's going on in the pact, because as you said, there's plenty of people that want to be mothers. In fact, they would have too many mothers.
Right, so it's weird. It's weird. Maybe before the pact, they were struggling with this, with controlling the population, in the case trying to get it higher. But now they seem to be suppressing the population. So, yeah, what is going on with the pact, and why have such strict gender roles? In fact, why was Sim's wife even a raider at all? If that's in the pact, isn't that breaking the pact?
That's a good question.
I'm going to go be a raider.
So my thought on that was that you can only be a mother for so long. Oh, wait, that sounds wrong. You're a mother for the rest of your life, as long as your kid doesn't die. And so, but I think in the silo society, they have one kid. Is that reasonable? 2 kids?
I think it has to be 2, right?
But
maybe
it's two and some fraction, because some number of kids are going to die working down in the mines or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that means that each, why is it 2? Because for every man and woman that has a kid, if they both die, they need to have 2 more kids, so that maintains the population at whatever many people are in the silo. But after you have your kids and they're starting to go into school, they're becoming more independent, then I don't think they can afford in the society for moms to sit around, like go back to work. Right. So maybe that's why Sims's wife is a raider. But did they have kids? I don't think they do.
No, they have a child. They have one boy.
They have one kid. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe they wanted. Okay. Maybe they had Sim's wife wanted to be a mother according to the pact because she's such a in line with society, but then she kept getting denied for reproduction, and so she's like, "I'll just get a job. I'm a raider now." But then when they got approved, she's like, "I quit."
Yep.
So okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's written in the pact because, maybe before the pact they had problems with women wanting to have kids, and they said that this was a net negative for society because we need to maintain a number of people that are in the society. So they built it into their codes, into like their societal rules of it's really important to be a mother, and it's revered and protected, and we'll do everything to support them because they need to have bodies.
I mean, and then when they loosen the rules, Juliet's running around without kids, causing problems and rebellion and not cleaning.
Exactly right.
Exactly right. Yeah, she's out of control.
She went outside. She didn't want to clean.
Right.
Broke the pact.
Yeah.
In this scene, this is a porter, and he explains that powered lifting machinery is illegal, but I don't understand why.
Weird.
What about the descender rig?
Not sure what you mean.
It's a powered winch and cable system.
It's against the pact.
So the descendo rig, which I guess is going down, but probably also ascendo, and it's against the rules in the pact, but why? I mean, they have
Why?
other electrical devices. They have other mechanical devices. So why is going up and down a problem?
So my first guess is that part of the pact is to make the down deep mechanical, make them the bad boys of the silo, the ones that are always rebelling. So in order to always blame mechanical, you need social stratification, like literal social stratification.
Okay.
And if you have a elevator when people are like up and down, intermarrying between the levels, meeting people and socializing between the levels, like, we want social stratification. So the ascendo descendo rig has got to be shut down. That's my only thought.
Yeah, I guess adding to that, you also make a dynamic where if the down deep ever wants to talk to you in the uppers, then they have to like physically labor climb up. And so that squelches if they have a small issue, like it's not worth it. Like it's going to take me 2 days to walk up there. Like can't do that.
Yeah. But gosh, these porters though, they're like their back and knees are toast because they don't want to use a pulley.
Right. What if you need to get like a new television or a new radio? That means from the down deep, from repair. That means somebody has to walk it up.
Right. And what if a couple of the porters twist an ankle and it's like, well, deliveries are slowed down. Like, oh so annoying.
I wonder if the porters get to retire early because their knees and backs and joints and hips, like it's all wrecked, right?
I think, well, this guy's relatively young. He looks like maybe 40s. I'm not sure. That's relatively young retirement, I think.
Right, but he's hunched over this entire scene. I think his back is damaged from being a porter.
Wonder if the porters, when they're like 25, are just like built, because
just quads and hands and glutes, just thick, just thick as heck.
Yeah, I could see it, but then they wear down more quickly than everybody else.
Not so good.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's written in the pact. Did the people that wrote the pact, were they aware that you'd have so much wear and tear on the porter's knees and hips and stuff? Were the people in the pact also the people that made the shoes? So like we want to like wear people's shoes out quickly so we can keep shoes going. Why not
so we're thinking,
descendo rig? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, like we're thinking it's got to be social stratification, political posturing, all this. No. It's Big Shoe.
It's Big Shoe. That's what's up. Yeah,
needs to move merchandise.
But like the person with the best handwriting when the pact was being written was a porter, and his porter's like, I know what to do. Like, I'm going to ensure my future brethren's careers. Like, no machines.
No machines. Yeah, I could see it. So I really like these scenes. Juliet is finally talking about the power situation. Where does Silo 17 get its power?
Your generator is under 100 levels of water, so how are the lights on?
IT has its own power source, comes from the outside.
Where from the outside?
Just like...
Okay, critical question. We get no answers other than like some pointing.
Yep.
But Juliet, she doesn't do follow-on questions. But I guess the real question is, where is the power coming from? It's got to be coming from another silo, right?
Yep, got to be. Well, because the generator in this silo 17, is underwater, which means not spinning and also electrically connected. I mean, shorted out. So definitely not here.
So later in the episode, Lucas Kyle does that hard drive reading.
Mm-hmm.
We see these tunnels coming off from IT and judicial. Mm-hmm. Maybe the power is coming through there to a separate silo, which means
that's exactly right.
When the silos were originally created, there was an expectation that the silos would work together, I think. Share power, share people, share resources, maybe.
Or at least be redundant. So if one silo's electrical power generation fails, then they can borrow from somebody else while they're getting their stuff repaired. Like, okay.
Yeah. Which, does this mean Silo 18 is like self-enforced isolation by the pact? Where there's like, we don't even know about the other silos. La 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 la.
Yeah, interesting. So Bernard does not know about the other silos. But that doesn't
Right.
mean that they're not still connected. Like he could be unaware that they're still connected and pulling power from other people. Possible.
Right. In fact, could Silo 17 be pulling power from Silo 18?
Possible.
I guess that's possible.
I mean, I guess what is the ideal meshing network so that way if any one node fails, you can pull power from the others nearby? Actually, it
I
might
think-
be that hexagon thing that we drew last episode.
Yeah. I mean, you would want as much redundancy as possible so you connect all of the silos together in a mesh network, which means every silo gets connected to its nearest neighbors, however many there are. Probably 6, we're saying, maybe.
Yeah, man.
So it
I
could
guess that's
be
the ideal, right?
any of those, yeah. But gosh, freaking Silo is not scared. Like, if he loses power, he's dead. Like, he can't see.
Right.
He can't run IT.
Right.
How does he refrigerate his food? How does he get water from the pumps? Like, he is dead.
You're saying that
But-
it's weird that he like points around and doesn't know what's going on with the power connection, but it's
Right.
something that's so critical to his survival, and he hasn't checked it out to make sure, like, hey, if this thing fails, what's my plan? What's my exit plan? Like, what are my other
Right.
options? Actually,
maybe-
exit plan.
maybe
maybe he has a suit ready, right? Because
Actually-
okay, what if I was in this situation and I knew that my life depended on this one like literal lifeline, this electrical lifeline to another silo, and if that ever failed, I would have no way of getting power up in my own silo. I need to have an escape plan. I need to be ready to bounce.
That's right. So I need to have a suit, and I need to have light, and maybe some water and food in like a go bag.
Yep.
Maybe he does have it inside behind that vault door.
Wouldn't that be wild if he's a prepper? Wait,
I mean, how could you
in
not
this
be a
scenario,
prepper?
it would be okay to be a prepper. In this scenario,
No, what a prepper. We like people make fun of preppers because they like prep for a scenario that's extremely unlikely.
Mhm.
But in this case, being a prepper is just prudent.
Right. Wasn't it in this like prepper shows where they show like kind of crazy people? There was this one guy who called the COVID-19 like the toilet paper like rush. Yeah, he called it right, and people were like, "Why would you ever need so much toilet paper?" But then there was the toilet paper rush. Like he called it. He was right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I would not have anticipated that was the big panic buy, but
Right.
that's what ended up
But
happening.
his friends and family never hear the end of that.
And Juliet asks Solo about the water situation in Silo 17.
Do
Interesting.
you think there's a way to stop the water from rising?
Your nearest groundwater pump is on 30 underwater, but you could run power to it. Maybe you could stop it from rising, yeah.
Wait, you could stop it.
Me? No. I don't have time. I have to do this.
No, I'm running out of time.
You're not running out of time. You have months.
10
you
months.
have years.
The water's coming into IT. In 13 months, it'll be completely
No,
underwater.
stop.
Just how does Solo know about the 13-month timescale? Is he measuring the surface of the water and how fast it's rising and then extrapolating into the future? What the hell is this?
Gosh, I think that's exactly right. Right. So Juliet thinks it's going to be months or years, and then Solo comes out and he's like, no, it's 10 months, 13 months until it's submerged. And I think that what it means is that he takes excursions out of the bunker, out of the what's this place called?
The
The
vault,
bank,
the
vault,
IT
the
vault.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
means he takes excursions out of the vault, and he goes down and he's like making chalk lines on the water level, and as it increases over time.
I mean, does that mean he would make chalk lines on the water? Maybe, gosh, that's the easiest way is to go directly measure the surface with a time that he has a timepiece in IT.
Or at least every month. Every month, draw a line, and then the next month, the line has increased by 5 inches or whatever.
Right. And considering that he has such a specific number, 13 months, he's not like a couple years. That means he's able to see a constant graph shape and easily extrapolate to 13 months.
Dots. Yeah.
Dot. But, gosh, as the water rises, the pressure that's driving the water rise should be decreasing.
So it should have a rapid current, and that decreases over time.
Right.
Because the
And-
pressure of the current is driven by the difference in pressure, which is that stack of height.
Yeah. And I can't remember if it ends up being exponential decay or a power law decay, but the current rate is always the highest rate. Through, like, if you look at it now,
Sorry,
that'll be the highest rate.
Current rate, like current is in time, but then we
Yeah.
have water.
Okay.
current,
Oh, yeah. The current rate of the water current flowing into the silo, raising the surface of the water, is whenever you measure it, that'll be the highest it will be for the future, because it'll always be
I see what you're
diminishing because the pressure driving it is diminishing over time.
So when you fill a balloon with water and then you, instead of tying the top, you like let it go, the water rushing out at the start is the most. And then as the balloon gets smaller and smaller and smaller, there's less and less squeeze from the balloon. So there's less and less pressure, which means the current eventually comes out as a little dribble, dribble, dribble.
Which is more sophisticated than a linear extrapolation by Solo.
Mm-hmm.
He's drawing dots, and then he's like, ooh, I can make that an asymptotic behavior.
Exponential. Yep.
That's pretty sophisticated. Now I wonder where it asymptotes to.
So I think the answer is it asymptotes to whatever the water level is. So can you walk me through this picture?
Okay. So the yellow box in the middle is the silo.
Okay.
And then the blue in the yellow box is whatever the current water level is. The blue on the outside of the blue on the outside is what I would think the water table is, which has to be higher.
So that's like, here's the ground level, this gold bar.
Yep.
And then if you were to dig down, you would eventually find water. And this is how we build wells.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the water table has to be higher than the level in the silo, because that difference in height creates a difference in pressure, which then drives the water into the silo.
I see. So if the water level was below the silo entirely, you would never get water filling the silo, because the water is below the silo.
Right.
So the fact that we're filling with water means that the water level is higher than the bottom.
Yep.
And so when you're saying at the very start of that pump failure, when the silo was completely full of air, that means there's a water level out here squishing down, and that's when the highest influx, the highest current is.
Yep.
And then as this water level as time goes on, the water level fills and fills and fills into the silo. This pressure differential from the height of the water table to the height of where the water is in the silo, this difference gets smaller and smaller and smaller, which means the pressure becomes more and more equal. Eventually, when the water level inside the silo becomes equal to the water level at the water table, then there's no more push, there's no more pressure differential, and then it equilibrates, it stops.
Right. So I had assumed that level 23 was the water table when we first were watching the first couple episodes in season 2, because I thought it's going to equilibrate. It may equilibrate slowly, but that may be days, weeks, maybe. But the equilibration rate is years, like decades, perhaps.
Surprising.
So that means, I guess, that the silo is actually sealed and the flow is like dripping in through like
little dribbles.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it has to be like drips at a time, because any kind of flow rate that's even like a small flow rate through a tiny pipe will fill up the silo pretty quickly. This is
although I wonder. Okay. So this is a question I've had about Silo 18, Juliet's silo. Is it really truly hermetically sealed? Like no airflow at all? And so all the air is purely cycled in here, or is there holes elsewhere in the silo such that they can get some fresh air sometimes? Now, I think it's sealed at the top, because otherwise they would get that dust that comes from the outside, and it would kill people on the inside, unless there's enough filtration, I guess.
Yeah, they could have some filtration. Yeah.
If it is hermetically sealed, then the air pressure would build up and then keep that water level down.
I see what you're saying. So if the top is sealed, as the water
hermetically
comes up,
sealed, like airtight.
Right. It's compressing the air.
Perfect.
And then eventually it'll compress the air to match the pressure on the surface of the water, or the pressure driving the flow, and it'll stop.
Right.
So every 10 meters is 1 atmosphere of pressure for water. So even if it's like not very far from the water table, say like 50 meters, like not that far, that's 6 atmospheres of pressure in the silo. And when Julie opened the door, it wasn't like an explosive decompression situation.
Right.
It's like a little bit of a... So
in fact,
to me, that means that it's not sealed.
If it was six atmospheres of pressure, I think Solo's eardrums are just blown. like you would need six atmospheres of pressure to hold back this difference in water. No way.
What you mean? So if I think a human body, if the pressure is increased slowly enough, we can go up to like really, really high pressures. Yeah. Because they have like divers can go like really far down in the water.
That's right. That's true.
And they have like diving bells where they like slowly crank up the pressure. It's these like explosive
And barometric
decompressions.
chambers.
Yeah.
I see.
That
It's
caused the
the
problem.
difference in pressure from outside of your body versus the inside of your body. Like this
Yeah.
is the problem. But if you
Yeah.
slowly increase the pressure everywhere, okay.
You're okay. So when Juliet opened the door, because Solo didn't just die from the like massive drop in pressure,
Mm-hmm.
I think that means it's not hermetically sealed. Which means
Okay.
it'll equilibrate at the water table, the water level.
Yep. So it's
Which
just a slow
means
leak somehow.
it's just a very slow leak. Which means the silo is like sealed from the ground. It's not just, like a concrete wall. Didn't worry too much about the seals. Like it's a
tight.
solid seal.
Mm.
I just didn't expect this.
Right.
That
How fortunate. How fortunate for Solo that Juliet showed up now. He's got 10 months left to not be underwater, and she like walks in his front door.
Oh, that's right. If it's been decades, he's like slowly watching the water rise. And then a year out from when he's like, well, I'm going to
Not
die.
happening. Yeah.
Somebody shows up. That would be like a godsend.
Mm-hmm. But maybe that's why he's friendly with her. He was like, planning to
Maybe.
live the rest of his life inside the vault. And he's like, when a time comes, like, whatever, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like,
Now
someone's
he
going
has
to be
hope.
outside survivable? Oh, girlfriend. Oh.
Okay. Oh. Maybe he wants to escape to Silo 18? Juliet
18.
Silo? Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
that can make sense. Hmm.
Yeah, that would be interesting. She brings Solo back, and she's like, "Look, people are outside. It's okay. We can talk with this other silo." But
Yeah,
he's,
and
like,
then
crazy at the same time.
And then the uppers are like, oh, cool. There's an outsider. Whose fault is it? Mechanical.
The down deep,
Down deep, their fault.
We get this bit of Solo lore, which is confusing to me.
I went to an event and they asked me, "Who are you with?" And I said, "I'm Solo." And Russell's kid was there and he overheard me say that and he thought that was my name.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the name stuck.
Can you imagine being Juliet in this scenario? Like you're in somebody else's home, somebody else's silo, and you're like, this is a weird dude. What is his story? And you're like slowly trying to tease out information from him. And then you get this explanation of like, what is your name? Your name is Solo? That's your nickname. But you were given a nickname by a child. And then you told everyone around you, like, that's my name now. Isn't that weird? Like getting a nickname from a child?
So I assumed when I watched this that he was a kid too, and the kid gave him as a kid the name. But you're saying he was an adult getting a nickname from a kid?
Right. I thought this too, and I thought that he was a child, and then I listened to it again. And okay, I have a couple clues.
Okay.
So one, let's listen again.
I went to an event and they asked me, "Who are you with?" And I said, "I'm Solo."
So he went to an event, and he went solo.
Okay.
To me, and given my like American background, going to an event like a public event solo means you're teens, like mid-teens up to adulthood. Right? You don't really go as a 12-year-old to an event solo like in a public
And what do kids say instead of event? They say party. I went
party.
to
I went to a
party.
carnival. I went to a game show or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Fireworks.
They don't say event. Yeah.
Right. So I think he's at least teenager plus
Okay.
because he went there by himself. Okay, and then let's listen to some more.
And Russell's kid was there and he overheard me.
He said Russell's kid was there. So that means
Okay.
so Russell was the head of IT. And so he's
Yep.
saying Russell by first name. He's not like Mr. whatever. Like so that means he's closer to Russell's age. And then he says Russell's kid was there. So Russell's kid he uses the diminutive word. He says like this is a child. He's not like Billy was there because Billy's my friend. We're the same age.
That's right. I see it. So
Swipe.
if it was his friend, he would have been like, Billy. Billy gave me the name
Billy was there. He gave me a nickname. Yeah.
at the party.
Right.
But instead, he's like, I went to an event, and my friend's kid gave me a name. That is okay.
So I think that what that means is that he's a teenager plus.
Okay.
And then he got a nickname from somebody's child, and then was like, "That's my personality now." I've thrown away my individuality. Like a child gave me a nickname, and I'm gonna make my whole personality of that.
So do you think he made up this story, or do you think this is a real story?
Even if made up or not, isn't that super weird? Like from Juliet's perspective,
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get a handle, like who is this person that I've been talking to, sharing food with, and then they come up with this. Or they tell you a story, that their origin story, their lore, and you're like, oh, you're fitting into society weird. Like you're letting little kids give you nicknames, and then instead of being like, ha ha ha, my real name is Mr. Something, or even my first name is Jim, but instead you're like, ha 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 ha, that's me now. Like, right? Like what if your kid's like, you're like your nephew, you're at a Christmas party, he's like, I just learned this new name, like, hey, you're your Uncle Adolf, and you're like, I guess I'm Adolf now.
Oh damn!
Right? Like okay, my boss's kid called me Jackie Chan, so now at work I'm Jackie Chan. Like, whoa, like that's super weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like letting a kid determine what your name is as an adult.
Right.
Like, oh.
Yeah, like how unsettled would you be if you're Juliet in this situation? You're like, who am I talking to? Like, what is this guy?
Well, I mean, Juliet has been blasting through friendship red flags with Solo for a couple episodes, and this is just another one where it's starting to be like, this guy.
What's going on with him?
He did use the pump well, though.
That's right. He stood on that box and pumped.
Pump it up.
Ooh. Okay. Wait. I have an example that totally destroys my point. Okay.
What?
Okay. So what? Okay. Imagine you're in medieval England. It's like 1000 AD, like medieval England. You got a king and stuff, right? So you go in there and you're like the knight's apprentice or whatever. You're what's this called? Oh, you're a squire. And then the king's son's like a prince. He's like, ha ha ha, you're Solo. And then you're like, that's not my name. But you look at the king, and the king's like, okay, like the prince said it. I guess I'm Solo now.
I see. So it's telling us something, maybe telling us something about the hierarchies in Silo 17 prior to the riot that killed everybody.
Right.
And
the head of IT is kind of like the king.
Kind of,
right? Like they really hold a lot of the power. And so if the IT's kid gives you a weird nickname and the IT doesn't like step on them and be like, don't do that, then kind of gotta go with it.
Kind of stuck with it because you're not gonna go against authority in that way. Not worth it.
Right. I'm not gonna be like, hey, shut the F up, kid. Like that's the king's kid.
Yeah,
don't do that.
The king's kid.
Now you're Solo. You're Solo forever.
Yeah.
This was weird. Okay, so coming down the staircase is the down deep gang, and then the security people stir up a mob, but why?
The others.
Yeah.
The two we put the bounty on are on the stairs. I've got raiders out of uniform just a couple levels below, and we're whipping up the crowd.
So there's two people coming down the staircase, and you can see them coming down the staircase.
Yep.
Why do you need a mob to stop them? Especially they say we got raiders down below, so you know where they're going. There's only one way down the silo. Like just stop them. Why are we wiping up mobs?
All right. You have raiders. There's two of them. They could easily block the stair, tackle them, arrest them.
Like hold hands and then grab the railing. Like
right. And if you don't have if you're worried about the manpower, a 2-on-2 is not good enough. Maybe you can find some raiders or sheriff's office people even lower down.
Yeah.
And stop them there. But what's the point of whipping up a mob? That's just going to create.
I don't understand.
I don't understand why that's necessary.
Also, don't these people have jobs? What are they doing in the middle of the day?
Okay. If I have a real job and there's a potential riot going on somewhere nearby, I'm gonna go check it out. Say what's going on down there.
If there's a potential,
I may get caught up in something.
If there's a potential riot, I'm staying away from there. I don't want to get my car messed up. I don't want to like lose my wallet there. I'm like, where is it now? It's in this middle of a mob.
Okay, you say
if
that.
They got a hot dog stand. If they got snacks, you got some interesting like street food. I'll check out the street food, and if the mobs does something cool, I'll watch it.
I mean, I have heard this that if you're like an intelligence agency or something and you want like a riot to happen in a foreign country, like make sure they're stocked, like water, tea, coffee, sandwiches. It's all stocked up. Local foods. It's like, well, I'll go check out the riot. Oh, they have food. I'll go take part. And then
actually, that's a good point. Even in a non-conspiratorial way, if I own a pizza shop, but I got one of those portable brick ovens, I see a riot like going downtown, like I'll roll up to the edge of it. I'll roll up to the edge of it, sell some cheap pizzas. Like, hey,
I mean, hey, why not?
Hungry, right?
So in this case, they're whipping up a mob. Maybe they've got a food truck around. You can't see off camera here. But it means there's actually a political reason for them to whip up a mob. Is this part of the pact? Like trying to whip up a mob to blame Mechanical? They're taking the opportunity. Is that what this is?
But I still don't understand why you need a mob for that. Like they've already blamed Mechanical. Just grab them.
But you want to whip up the mob to like ensure that the rebellion happens. Like, if you don't take the opportunity to whip them up, then it may peter out. You're like, damn, I got to make some other ploy.
When these people get whipped up into a mob and they capture the Down Deep gang, then they feel satisfied, like we did it. Yeah, we did our job and we suppressed them. And okay, but if you just have raiders or you have security do it, then kind of something that happens in the background.
Right. And maybe that's the point. You want it to be this big affair,
public
to create
display.
Somehow this is important for the social stability of the silo. I mean, I guess in medieval times and stuff, the king would be like, here's the criminal. And they would like torture them in front of the crowd. The crowd would be like, yeah,
we like torture.
We like torture and brutality.
That's true. Because the king could just quietly like throw him off a cliff or whatever, right? But it's something. There's something about that public display, especially when people can get involved and throw rocks themselves. Like, it's a
I guess
crowd
if it was a true public rival, that like if he did a public execution, it might whip up the crowd against him. Then the king might quietly kill him off to the side. But if he knows the crowd's going to be on his side, maybe he kills them publicly. Maybe that's what's going on here. It's not actually to catch them. It's like pact stuff. Maybe.
And also if the king kills these people quietly, king being Bernard, if he kills them quietly, then there's potential accusations of like, that's shady. Like, what is going on? But if the crowd does it, then it's like, you guys wanted it.
Yep.
Okay. I see it.
Maybe. Yeah.
This was wild. This is absolutely wild. Bernard wants this hard drive fixed. Clearly not a hardware guy.
I have something that is fragmented, and I need you to reconstruct it. You recognize it? This is the hard drive that Juliet Nichols showed you.
No, this thing is trash. There's no chance.
It's trashed.
Absolutely destroyed. Okay, let me justify why it's trashed. So hard drives with these platters and their magnetic read heads, they spin at 5,400 RPM, maybe 7,200 RPM, 7,200 RPM. And at 3 nanometers, this is how close this magnetic read head needs to absolutely just skim across the surface of this platter. This platter has a bunch of magnetic domains. You induce a current. You read it on the magnetic read head. 3 nanometers. Okay, what is a 3 nanometer? I don't think a lot of people live in this space. So a human hair, a hair's breadth is 17 micrometers to 181 micrometers. Let's maybe average this out to 100 micrometers. So 100 micrometers in comparison to 3 nanometers. Let's just do some division. So let's 3 round it up to 10, nice round number, divided by 100 times 1,000 to get from micrometers to nanometers. Yeah, what's up?
So 100,000 nanometers is 1 micrometer, or is that 100 micrometers?
100 micrometers, exactly.
100. I see. So this is. Yes. So we're doing like 10 nanometers is roughly the distance between the read head and the disk over the width of a human hair.
Right. I want to get that comparison. I want to get comparison. I want to get that comparison. I want to see that aspect ratio of how close this thing needs to be compared to something that's more commonly like measurable. Your hair. Okay. So this ratio, 10 nanometers to 100,000 nanometers, this is like 1 foot for 2 miles. This is like 30 centimeters for 3 kilometers. Like imagine if you had a car that was 2 miles long and you're like, back it up into the driveway, get it to within that 1 foot of the house. Like that this is the aspect ratio that we're talking about, and just no way, like no way can you control something that long to that close to precision. Okay, but this is still not even the right comparison. Like I chose a human hair, and this magnetic read head, this is much larger than a human hair. So why am I going with this? I'm saying that no way does Lucas have the ability to control his macro scale tools to get this read head rebuilt into the hard drive to be 3 nanometers distance. Like no way is this pile of junk. Like no way. And Bernard just fix this.
Even looking at the disk itself, I'm assuming that circular piece there, maybe the disk with data on it, it's all beat up, scratched.
Dinged and scratched and corroded. No way.
There's no way he would ever be able to reassemble the hard drive with any precision at all that would be able to turn it on and read it. No way. I mean, there's absolutely no way. 3 nanometers. I didn't know about those ratios. That is insane. There's just no way. It's beat to shit.
So I don't know how corroded this is, but definitely if there was like a hole, like just drilled straight into it, then you can't spin this thing ever again. Because you spin this thing at 5,000 RPM, 7,000 RPM. If there's a hole in the side, then that thing's going to be so unstable, so wobbly, it just rip itself apart. And so that's why it's recommended if you really want to destroy your hard drives, like just drill a hole through it. And that being said, maybe, I don't know if this thing has the structural integrity to stay together if it needs to spin. But now we're freestyling here. But maybe Lucas can get the data off without spinning it. Like this is stationary, and then he moves the read head over on top of it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, let's say you have a hard drive in the modern world. So we're not talking about future tech. Let's say there's a hard drive in the modern world that's been smashed.
Okay.
And on that hard drive is critical national security information.
Okay.
And the CIA is like, we need this information. The disk is beat up, but the information, there's some partial information on there, away from the scratches or whatever. We want to get as much information from this as possible. We'll give you 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, oh, it's a little bit damaged. I'm not going to spin it. Like, what can I do? What can I figure out?
What can I do? Could we do some kind of imaging?
Security? All right.
Yeah. Could we do some imaging? Could we do some scattering? Could we somehow? I don't think you'd want to spin the disk. I think you want it to be like carefully placed and somehow measure it. I think if you got some physicists on the case, maybe you'd be able to do it if they got really creative. Maybe. But then the data would be like zeros and ones from the domains. If they could measure it with some scattering or some special probe or lasers, I'm not sure how it would work. So then you'd have to decode the zeros and ones. Sorry, say that again.
So I said squid, like a squid magnetometer.
Yeah. Maybe you could use... Okay, so you bring some sort of superconducting device near magnetic domains and the current switches on and off depending on the orientation.
Maybe.
But that would have to be so small. And it would be really slow to read. So... maybe
slow to read is okay if I'm talking about national security stuff.
Right, but... and I have 2 years to develop a technique and then read it slowly as part of a team
I think,
with funding.
I think this qualifies as national security stuff. Because at least Bernard thinks it does. But Lucas turns it around in like 2 days or something.
He's like a 2 days.
Way too fast.
Yeah. It's way too... He doesn't have a team. He doesn't have a budget. He must have a magic machine.
Quantum devices.
Okay, we don't know when the apocalypse happened. Maybe it happened in like 2100, 2200. And so you can like put, I don't know why they would have this, but you can put the disk into a reader that can read it as if it's a regular hard drive without spinning it. Why would they have this device in the silo?
Gosh, yeah. No. So the question is, would the founders have predicted that we need to have this device?
But maybe maybe the tech is so good it's like a device that can do multiple things and it happens to be able to do this, but it wasn't designed for it.
Like a microwave combined with an oven. right? People in the 30s were like a microwave and an oven. Why would you put those together? But now we have microwave ovens. Wait, is that what a microwave oven is? I think that's not. I think that's not what that is.
Well, okay. I'm thinking. Do you know this?
No,
Like they had like the. It's not. They had like in the Middle East or something. They found like scrolls, and it was this wet paper that was all like squished together, so they couldn't open it. Okay. So instead, they did like scattering on the paper, and then used AI to like look through all the pages, and so they could read the pages without actually opening the book because it would just fall apart.
That's right.
So maybe some combination of AI and scattering. This machine exists in like a closed form.
True, but for magnetic domains, sure.
Right, and it's
maybe
you could like type into this computer like, we have a broken hard disk. Please use the device to read it in like plain text, and it's like, oh, I'm an AI. I understand what's going on, and
I can figure it out.
Use this device that I have available to read it as best I can.
Even if it's not AI, because I don't know, I don't think they have hinted at anything about AI in this universe. Even if it's just dumb electronics, I think that's still doable.
You think
like
so?
The AI-ness is for the pattern decomposition or recognition, one of those words.
Right. Yeah.
But the technology was already existing.
But it's so beat to shit. Like, how are we gonna?
So beat to shit.
And he does like a 2-day turnaround on this.
Well, if it's that or the mines, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I wonder if Lucas just wrote he's like, I need to have results. I'm just going to fake the data. Like, right? What's Bernard going to do? How's he going to check me?
No, that makes much more sense. He didn't he actually see what was on the hard drive? He saw it with
Lucas saw what it was before, right?
So from memory, he fakes the data. He spent all his time faking the data and said he could read it, but it's actually impossible.
As soon as Bernard leaves the room, Lucas is like in the MS Paint, like drawing up what he remembered.
yeah. Because Bernard is like, you only have you bought yourself a day. Who's like, well, I need to fabricate more data.
Okay, a day's worth of data. Here we go.
Here we go.
A day's worth of what you want to hear from me. Like,
that is so plausible. That makes much more sense because it's so beat up. Look at that.
No chance. Just no chance. It's also wild that the head of IT really does not know how his devices work.
Right, because he should know. He should either know it's possible with some advanced tech that we don't see, or he should know it's impossible. It's too beat up. Right. I'm asking Lucas Kyle to do something impossible.
Impossible. No chance.
Yeah.
Not a hardware guy.
Yeah. Also consistent with Silo characters smashing things before they should have.
That's right.
Juliet smashes her suit, needs it later. Bernard smashes hard drive, needs it later.
We're in a universe where resources are extremely limited. Where are you going to get a new hard drive? Don't be breaking these.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to
right over
manufacturing hard drives. No chance.
This is an interesting dynamic. I don't know what to take from it. It's cool.
White button.
Judge, is everything okay?
The button isn't working.
We have everything handled here, Your Honor.
Thought it might be a good idea to see how the search for the people who murdered her is going.
Make sure you get all the relevant details on your desk in the morning.
Sims is he's just a one-track pony. Like, he doesn't know how to do anything besides intimidating. Like, what are you doing talking to him like this? This is your new secret society, your new secret what is this? Janitor's closet guy.
Yep.
Be friends. What are you doing?
Which means when he was the leader of this situation. He was intimidating people and causing fear. And then once those people, like this guy who's now the leader, decides he doesn't have any power over me, they're out. The influence that Sims had over me is gone. Whereas, so it's telling us that Sims is actually a pretty poor leader and networker.
Right.
He's intimidated himself out of influence.
Right. So as soon as this guy doesn't report directly to Sims, he's like, I'll write a report. You'll see it in the morning. Like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, get away. We've disabled the button.
Sims.
Just for you.
So crazy. Also, this button, why is this button not working? Shouldn't this be like a critical button? Maintain it. This is what happens when you don't have good maintenance people. In fact, I guess the down D people would be the people to maintain buttons, but they're definitely not maintaining this button.
No way.
Because otherwise, on their like their monthly tasks, like maintain this button. Like, what does this button go to? Like, oh, you don't ask that. No. So I think this button is maintained by the genders class of people.
It has to be.
But they're not mechanical people. They don't know how to maintain it.
Well, is it a fingerprint button or is it just like a button?
I think it's a button.
If it's fingerprint, they just disable his credentials, right? But if it's just a button, then it stopped working and now they have to replace it. And I'm like, I don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it. I'm not mechanical. Button is gone forever.
This button, if they just didn't disable his credentials, this button is gone forever. Where are they going to get a replacement
also,
button?
Not like dirty, grimy everywhere than one smooth, polished button that everyone's pressing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like the video game. Like, look here. Like,
yeah.
Wild. But yeah, so cool, interesting dynamic here. That Sims is out of place. He wants to intimidate. He wants to be back here doing dirty work. But you're a judge now. Get out.
This is a big W for Bernard. He like knows Sims' leadership style, and if he reassigns Sims from the judicial raiders to the judge, he knows he's actually going to lose power. That's a excellent read by Bernard. Like he knows Sims really, really well.
Very clever.
Very clever. Because it's actually technically a promotion to a more powerful position.
Mm-hmm. But his hands are tied now.
But his hands are tied now. Bernard.
You effed up
He's
Sims.
Good. This was so weird to me. Shirley and Knox are planning their escape. They're stuck in this room. And right as they're about to leave, Shirley changes the plan and says, "Trust me. What are you doing?"
And as soon as we close this door, we're locked out.
We gotta go home sometime. I see we hit the stairs and run like hell.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But not down. Up.
What?
Trust me.
So they've been sitting in this room for hours, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And Shirley she's cranking through ideas about how to get back down to mechanical, not sharing it apparently with Knox, who's going to be with her. And then, so they have not shared their plan. And this plan by Shirley is counterintuitive. We want to go down. And she's like, we're going up. And Knox is like, what the? And so she mentions this right as they're leaving. And her explanation is, trust me, bro. Like, what the hell?
Gosh. Okay, yeah, that part I do not like. Let's give her the most favorable interpretation. The most favorable interpretation is that she opens the door and then this idea comes to her epiphany. Right? So she didn't. Yep. It's not that she didn't disclose it earlier. She just thought of it just now. Still, the explanation of "just trust me" is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Like all she needs to say is people are going to be expecting us to go down. They're going to be looking for us there. Let's go up. There's going to be fewer people. They won't notice us. Right. Let's go. What was that? 5 seconds? 10 seconds? Just say that.
Right. It take a minute right now and go over whatever you're thinking, Shirley.
Yep.
Because if something goes wrong and Knox doesn't know what you're doing, he won't be able to improvise.
He's not going to be able to go with the flow. He has no idea what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Was her plan to go up and then get the winch and then dump down? Was that the plan, or did she improvise the winch part? Okay.
Heck, even if that wasn't the plan and she came up with that later on, just coordinate. Just talk with your teammate. There's only two of you. Just tell them, like, I have this plan. We're gonna go up because people are expecting us to go down. We're just gonna zigzag. We're gonna juke them. Sure.
Right. Little. Which way am I gonna go?
Exactly.
I got two choices though.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It's not like you have the full 3D space to work with. No, you got to go. It's binary, up or down.
Yep. Just communicate. Just talk to your partner.
Communicate. Mechanical's really bad at communication for some reason.
Terrible.
And this was interesting. What's the deal? Why did Solo take the actual Solo's identity?
I don't know.
Does fake Solo have a crush on Tiny from back in the day?
I don't know. But first, who is Tiny?
So it looks like Solo. Oh yeah. So Juliet is going through the records somewhere in the up top on Silo 17 looking for additional helmets. and she happens upon this piece of paper. There's a memorandum, and it says, "Whoever borrowed helmet R352, please return. No questions asked. Now is the time to rise above the lawlessness, not participate in it." So they're missing a helmet now. So Juliet keeps looking, like, where could this missing helmet be? And the next picture is, I guess she
looks for suit room employees, because if it's missing from that room, it's got to be someone that has access to the room. And so she finds 3 people, and one of them is Tiny. So I guess she checks out these 3 apartments, but this is the one that we see her doing.
Right. And then Tiny, the one who has stashed the helmet, ends up being the partner of the real Silo. Sorry, the real Solo.
I wasn't sure if it was siblings or romantic. I couldn't tell. I don't know.
I couldn't tell either.
Well,
but for
somehow
some reason,
in this picture together.
Yeah. The guy who we know as Silo, this guy we knew as Solo, took the actual Solo's name for some reason. So there's maybe some jealousy. Maybe Solo's just a weird dude and he liked him. We don't know yet.
Right. So did our Solo have like a infatuation with the real Solo, or maybe with Tiny? And so then when real Solo died, our Solo, as we know him, took his place. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
And that happened when everybody died in Silo 17. And it was just a coincidence that the helmet happened to be in Tiny's apartment. So Juliet found out about Solo's rename.
This picture.
Right. It's just a coincidence. It could have been in anybody's. I guess it'll lead. This is going to lead somewhere to more revealing about Solo being a weird dude.
Yeah.
We'll
weird.
see.
I don't know. Weird guy.
Yeah, more about Lucas Kyle. This data recovery. Now, first off, look at the pieces. Look at the pieces. This hard drive is destroyed.
Absolutely.
The turnaround in a day is incredible. But he does
incredible. He does it.
And there's some interesting stuff on.
He somehow puts the hard drive together enough to decode the hard drive, and there's 2 categories in here. There's the Silo blueprint reconstructed and memos. There's 2 folders in here.
Right, and not only does it's not like, oh, here's the zeros and ones from the hard drive. I read the raw data. No, it's like I read the raw data. I was able to fit it into this folder format and then parse out the images. It wasn't encrypted. I mean, wow,
incredible. There's no like a junk folder either. It's just these are the 2 things.
That's right.
He uploads it to the computer here, and so hey, they still call it C drive. That's nice.
That's
so
cool.
The recovered hard drive. There's the current Silo map, trash bin. Still looks like trash.
Yep.
And so this is what we see in the current Silo's map, and it looks like it's just the cylinder. They've stripped away the other stuff.
That's right. So
I guess
the real
it's so
map,
that you don't tip off your population that there's other stuff going here. You just redefine the map, and as long as people don't see those other lines, then no problem.
Yeah. So I guess in IT, there's a bunch of workers who wouldn't have clearance to see the real map, like most of them, and so they need to upload new files to IT so that if any worker sees a map of Silo, all they see is this plain cylinder. Yeah. But
we see that the actual map has these other lines here.
Yeah.
So and I don't know if this is like so this is the Silo, this is the judicial level, this is IT.
Okay.
And so there's a line coming out here. I don't know if it's walkable or if it's just like a tube with just power. Could be. It could be power, it could be air. I don't know.
So this is what Solo's Silo could be being powered by, is some of these. There's power going through these connections. And what is it? Is there one off to the left there in that picture? I'm just seeing that. If you look, there's definitely judicial. Yeah, that one. That looks like it's going to the left.
So
maybe that's going to another nearest neighbor.
So I have no idea. First of all, I have no idea. But secondly, I would imagine there's more maybe going into the page, because if there's only one line going out here, one line going out there, and then a third line down in the down deep, that means that these would all be going to a single other Silo. And so earlier in this video, we said the best would be mesh networking as much as possible. So that way you decrease the independence of each silo in case of failure. They can borrow from others. But it looks like if there's only one set of lines coming out, then they have a buddy system. Like silos are paired together.
Well, maybe. So this is a cylinder in my cup. And we're looking at a slice of the cylinder. And maybe there's 6-fold symmetry or 3-fold symmetry. And so instead of showing like the lines coming in and out of the page at weird angles, it's like you could look at this side and then we can rotate it and show the next ones, and then rotate it and show the next ones. And so there actually might be more. It's just showing one at a time.
If this is silo 18, the IT one could go to 17, judicial one could go to 16, and then the down deep one goes to 15 or something.
Oh, I was thinking like, imagine, so the handle is the tunnels. Imagine there's 3 handles on here. But when I show a map, I show one handle at a time, and I rotate it.
I see.
Yeah.
So there would be another. There would be like, in terms of physics symbols, there'd be like a dot and an X. A dot means there's another tube coming right towards the camera, and then an X would be one going away from the camera.
Yeah. And maybe there's like a checkbox somewhere that's like, show all the tunnels, or show just this tunnel. But we don't see that. Because
either way, of all the tunnels, this one's my favorite. This one's it. Cool. And so we see all together. Kind of weird. Kind of weird that these two are so close. And then this one's super far. Why not distribute these evenly?
Right, because that gives you some redundancy. Also weird that, now that I'm thinking about it, power is coming in to IT through the cables near the top, but power is generated near the bottom. You think you'd want to share power down deep where the power is generated instead of, but I guess that doesn't matter.
Gosh, I would put them evenly spread out. So say there's a circuit problem down here, then power can come in from the top and then spread down.
Right, because if I'm the silo manufacturers, I'm thinking you're not going to be able to manufacture new silos, new wiring, new infrastructure for a very, very long time. So I want maximum redundancy. So I want multiple levels with multiple offshoots. As things break, I'll be okay.
Although, say one silo, say like 15, say their generator starts spinning too fast, it starts creating overvoltage, and then that's now electrically connected to all the neighboring silos. That overvoltage could cause breakdowns in other people's silos. Oof, that's dangerous.
Yeah, so now you're adding like safeties, which could complicate it. So maybe you want to reduce the number of connections so that it's simpler.
A gigantic like breakdown voltage, gigantic fuses.
Yeah, maybe. Heck.
Should we be designing silos? Maybe we should.
I think it would be really hard because you got a lot of things to consider.
Consider this. What? Why? This is a hidden passage, but it's not hidden. It's not hidden at all.
Don't get it.
Watch where you step.
This is the last thing you want to do if there's like this passage that you being the uppers, you're like, I don't want people to know about this passage, but then you put a sign that says don't go beyond this point. But if it was just a brick wall, I wouldn't have known that there's a point beyond it that I could go to.
Right. So people don't go around smashing brick walls,
like,
but
hoping there might be a passage.
Yeah. There's too many walls. So if I run into a brick wall, I think that's the end of the road.
That's the end of the road. Turn around. Right.
But if there's a sign up that says don't go through, I'm like, I'm curious.
That's right. Yeah, it's like, why don't you want me to go through there?
Yeah. Then you get some rebellious teenagers. Maybe people forget why it was important not to go through there. All of a sudden, you've got an exploration team.
Right. Well, because the sign says like, don't go beyond this point, teenagers. Like, as a teenager, like, F you, man. Like, I'm going through. Yeah, but if it just been a solid wall, if this tunnel had just been fully bricked up, it would have been hard. It just I wouldn't have thought about going in there at all.
That's right. And then because it's not bricked up, teenagers can easily get in there, and it's just a sign. Plus,
I wonder.
plus,
Actually,
I think people actually forgot why this is important. So they're like, "There's a sign. Don't go through it." I don't really know why I'm enforcing the rule. If teenagers sneak into there, it's like not a big deal, you know. So it should just be bricked up. Just brick up.
Brick it up.
You just got to brick it up, and then that solves all problems.
Get bricked up. I wonder though. I wonder if this sign, if it was an order from the up top, that was like, put a sign there and make sure people don't go through. And so then mechanical, the people that probably make the signs, were like, we're gonna make this a real conspicuous sign. Like we're gonna make a sign that anyone that's curious is gonna be like, I need to know what's up there, because it's not even like nailed or I don't know. It just screws. Like you take the screws off. And who are the people in the silo that have screwdrivers? Like mechanical.
Mechanical. It doesn't make. Maybe this is a slight act of rebellion.
That's right. In a way that if the sheriffs or the raiders or judicial or IT, if anyone came down and be like, oh, signs there, very good,
Very good.
But
the mechanical
mechanical people, they're like, sneaky subversion. People won't check
totally.
it out. Silent people.
So weird. And then here, so Shirley and Knox, they go up to get the winch, and then they mount the winch to one of the walkways, and they jump off. The winch cable, I think it's a steel cable, not sure, has absolutely no give.
At least we'll die in the down deep.
Like, oof.
And wrap it.
I mean,
no chance.
I think this is so gruesome. I think they would have been split in half. I mean, they are falling so fast.
Shirley's like, at least we'll die in the down deep. Like, no, you'll die in midair on the way to the down deep.
Yeah.
No chance.
I mean, body parts will end up in the down deep.
I mean, look how fast this. Oh god, look how fast this winch stops. It goes from rotating to stop. Ready. Bam! It's quick.
It's quick.
That means that the rope got taut that quick. And so it's not. It's like, not stretchy rope. It's stiff rope. It's yeah. There's no elastic to it. Okay. So I looked this up. I looked this up in climbing rope. There's a rope called dynamic rope. Dynamic rope is a specially constructed, somewhat elastic rope used primarily in rock climbing, ice climbing, mountaineering. Okay, that's not enough information. So there's two types of ropes. There's static ropes that have no stretch, dynamic ropes that have stretch. So if a static rope is 50 feet, it has a little bit of elasticity because the fibers are getting pulled tight, but 5%. So you get a little bit of extra length. And if you pull any harder than that, it just breaks. Whereas dynamic rope has a lot of stretch, 5% elongation, 30% and a dynamic elongation. And so what does that mean? It means when you pull it tight, it stretches out slowly. Why is that important? Well, that's important because if you're falling, you're going from moving to not moving. So this delta P, this change of momentum, is going to be whatever it is. You're going from moving to not moving. However, you can change the way that dynamic plays out. If you can increase the amount of time, then you can decrease the amount of force. And so this is why climbers use this dynamic rope. Because when you fall down, you want to stretch out that deceleration. You want to stretch out that slowing down instead of making it like a fast snap. When you stretch out that slowing down, you decrease the force. You might survive it. With static ropes, like I think their hips are broken. I think their spine is broken.
Right.
Like it's like a pull tight real quick.
So maybe their combined weight is like 300 pounds, maybe, give or take. And and the stopping, they're probably falling at like 50 to 100 miles an hour, and they're stopping in like a tiny fraction of a second. So the force and accelerations are way high, and the rope doesn't even give. The rope stays intact, which means the acceleration is just so big. I think they break.
I'm not sure if this is steel braided rope or if it's some other rope. I'm not sure. But either way, we saw from the rotation that it stops fast. It's not like this wheel spins and like over spins and then corrects and forward spins. Like it's tight. It snaps real fast. So they have these kind of hip harnessy things. I don't think these are elastic, but even if they were, they're not very long.
Yeah. There may be a little bit of
I think
extra
they're broken.
elasticity there, but not much.
I think their hips are immediately stopped while their torsos and their legs are still going forward. I think they break their backs.
Right.
At least.
My
There's only
instinct
so
says
much
they
force.
may.
Like, they could have been just ripped.
My instinct says they may even be ripped apart.
I think so.
And fall in pieces, which is so gruesome. But then even
and
if
down
they
deep,
don't,
like, why is it raining?
oh, even if their body stays intact, I think internal organs are sloshing around, like you said, back and hips just totally shattered.
Gosh. And
Like,
if their
they're
hips
not
stop
recovering.
while their torsos are still falling forward, then their head whips around. Like, I don't think their necks survive that either.
Right. I think this is too much for the human body to handle because there's just no give. You would need some kind of give somewhere to elongate the time. Otherwise, it's just
Otherwise,
so
that force is
sudden.
too high.
It's so sudden.
Right.
Ah.
And it's strange. It's strange that the mechanical people are the ones making this mistake, because they're the ones that are most
That's
likely
right.
to be aware of this type of equation, of this type of physics. But on the other hand, they're mechanical. They're not like medical. So maybe they're like biology, different realm. I don't know.
I mean, they can feel the rope, right? They probably feel like that
Yep.
doesn't have any give.
Yep.
They can feel their harnesses. They're like, that doesn't have any give. I don't know if it takes like, an Einstein to figure out, I'm going to die. So are they just suicidal? They're like, well, they could have just decided not to jump and been like, well, this was a good plan, but the rope is going to kill us. They even say it's good to die in mechanical.
If it was that or certain death, then sometimes you have to roll a hard 6. Like if you're like, if they're up there with the Raiders and the Raiders are like slicing with that sword, like, I'm gonna kill you, then you're like, all right, fine, I'll jump.
Right.
They didn't explore. They had other options.
They had other options. They didn't. They could have just run again. Try running again. Go hide, or even just say, "I'm toast. I'm getting arrested." But to give up,
or like tie their shoe to the rope and then throw the shoe over so it stretches out the rope, and then climb down the rope. Right?
Actually, you could do get the rope. Yeah, put a weight on the rope, throw the rope down, and then use your feet and slide quickly down the rope until the end. And you think maybe I could pull that
tie
off.
the rope to the railing, and then throw the winch over the edge.
Oh, there you go.
Just tie the rope. I don't know if they have the not tying skills of Juliet though.
Right. And if it is truly steel rope, which we're not even sure, that sounds difficult to like hand tie because
it is difficult. Yeah.
But it's better than jumping because gosh, I was like ready for them to just be like dangling like limp bodies,
Like, well, there goes the down deep.
Yep.
No chance. Absolutely
no chance. Just no chance.
Also, they could have ended up in between floors, just dangling.
That's right. They could have ended up in between
like, up here.
floors.
And it's like, well, we're stuck now. What a high risk maneuver.
Well, it just wasn't a good plan.
Cool. That's it. See you next episode.
That's it. See you next episode for season 2, episode 6.
6.